Here today.
Yeah.
You know, while I was coming around here, I didn't even bother to drive because somebody said, "Where you gonna drive go?" So what do you mean? There's no parking around church. I said, "No man, a big funeral. I don't know the person here. An official.
Yes,
Is that right? An official."
Yes.
Alright.
Aficionado.
Thank you, Elder.
Oh, man.
The eulogy today is just a verification, just a confirmation of all the wonderful tributes that have already gone ahead. It was the author Mark Twain who wrote that the two most important days in our life are the day that we are born and the day that we discover why. That is the day you find out what your purpose in life is when you truly start living. Family, I've got sugar, nieces and nephews, friends, all well-wishers. It is humbling to be here today to celebrate the life of my friend, our friend, Nesta Maurice Andrews. And I start in this way because Nesta lived a determined, purposeful life, and I'm very proud to have called him friend. Nesta Maurice Andrews was born on the 3rd day of June, 1981. And we all know that that was the last great decade, right? No more than the shandy around us. He was the 4th child of the union between his mother, Browen Simpson, Miss Patsy, and his father, George Glover Andrews, Mr. Clover, and he also had an older sister, Maureen by Mr. Clover. Both his parents have predeceased him. Nesta attended the John Mills Infant and All-Age School. Never went to Irisgale, he was very proud to tell you that. Then he went on to the Mona High School and later Arden High. Nesta was the sort of person who never liked to wear clothes growing up as a child. And from the story of him jumping over the electrified fence and his mother always shouting at him to go and put clothes on, he eventually got the nickname Leather Skin. Or Leather. Miss Patsy used to always be shouting at him to go and put on his clothes. But Nesta was a jovial and fun-loving child. And boy, as I can tell you and as was said, he was resourceful at finding ingredients to run about. It was during high school that Nesta developed a liking for community outreach through the various clubs and activities that he participated in. Nesta was brilliant. He reasoned well, very articulate, but his favorite subject was principles of accounting. He was always helping someone with homework and sorting out any other life issues, and soon took on another nickname, Father, because he was everybody's father. He was not just academically proficient, he also was an avid tennis player.
Yes.
And often used my wall because we had the longest fence towards the parking lot to practice his swings and bounce the ball on the wall. And it used to echo inside the house, and we used to be very annoyed by it, but it's Nesta, what are we going to do, right? His childhood friends would tell you that he was one of the best at dandy shandy, rounders, and cricket. After leaving high school, he went to work at the National Housing Trust, NHT, as a debt management officer. And later on, he went back to work as a loan portfolio officer. And this he did while he was pursuing his degree at the University of Technology, UTech, in accounting. While at NHT, Nesta never failed to encourage anyone about the benefits of home ownership. He always have some advice to give you, always telling you which new scheme is going to open, always telling you how to calculate your points, right? Always willing to assist you. Nesta had a passion for the spoken word, and he was an avid reader of the Sunday Gleaner, which used to be delivered to him at home. But it was at UTech where he honed his writing skills and established himself as a poet. Whenever the Gleaner carried one of his poems, which was often, almost every Sunday, Nesta had a poem in the Gleaner, he would walk around with that section of the paper to show it to his friends. It was a pride and joy of the community when he published his first book called Trenchtown Poet, I Dare to Dream Again. And I can still remember attending the book launch at the Port Charter at UTech.
Yes.
Some of my favorite poems from that collection are Ghetto Baptism and Dream Street. Nesta Maurice Andrews is listed as an author in the 10th edition of the Directory of Caribbean Publishers. Dr. Barnes, let me say that again. He's listed as an author in the 10th edition of the Directory of Caribbean Publishers. And that's a big deal coming from Trenchtown.
Yes, again, yeah, we're up there. Yeah.
As with most artists, because poetry is an art, Nesta was somewhat of a mystic. After being baptized at Reverend V.B. Church,
Yes.
Nesta began speaking in tongues.
Yes.
And ever so often he would get a vision and come out shouting in tongues and running up and down in the parking lot. And trust me, when you heard Nesta speaking in tongues and moving fast, neighbors, I get out of the way, because you have to just draw closer to God at those times, because you don't want the prophecy to be about you. His love for the arts, the youth, and his community would see him forming the Renaissance Youth Club, and I think most of us sitting at the front here are directors. And he formed that to encourage the development of our youth through the creative arts, and maybe that's why I'm dressed in this outfit from Nigeria, and also Dr. Barnes is dressed from Nigeria as well today. And he used Renaissance to encourage the youth, you know, for the creative art. He was the club's director and he was the project management consultant.
Yes.
He provided mentorship through the US Embassy's Youth Ambassador Program, you know. And he was also named as a British Council youth leader.
Yes.
So Nesta was well connected with the diplomatic corps as well. After parting ways with the NHT, he delved deeper into community development by taking a job at the Jamaica Social Investment Fund as a community liaison officer, working on the World Bank Inner City Services project in a series of infrastructure and social development interventions for volatile communities such as our own Trenchtown. Through this, he prioritized assistance for the needy and the deserving. Numerous persons can attest to him telling them about a scholarship opportunity, where they could get a book grant, you know, where they could register for a course, and where they could get help towards school fees, you know, and not just through his job, but through his own funds, through his own pockets.
Yes.
He paid many a school fee for many of us. He helped with homework assignments, he lent us his textbooks. You know, he was never failing to offer a word of advice and motivation to absolutely everybody he came in contact with. He was a rock, he was our support, extremely supportive.
Yes.
As a community advocate, he pushed for the renovation also of the Alwyn Ashley Community Center, which we now know as Prince.
Yes.
And he started the community recycling project. Nesta partnered with UTech, the Social Development Commission, the Ministry of National Security, Ministry of Education, and the Heart Trust NTA in providing scholarships and training in skills and arts through local and international projects and programs. He was instrumental in getting funding for 50 community kids to attend the halls of learning computer games, animation, and programming at Heart Trust VTBI one summer. I was a part of that program, so now I know C++, I can design computer games because of Nesta.
Wonderful.
Two also of those children from the cohort went on to get their first US visa, and they competed in a competition in the US on animation and coding. And one of those is now a citizen in the US through a scholarship.
Yes.
Yeah, Nesta do hold it, man. Plenty.
True.
We don't have enough days to talk about him. Nesta was featured in many newspaper articles as he shone the spotlight on Arnett Gardens and the work of the youth programs which brought about positive changes. He also lobbied in getting the mural commissioned along the Calvary Cemetery's wall, so beautify the area and to discourage dumping, because you know persons were dumping in the area. So when places are prettier, we treat it better, right? And Nesta had that vision. More than his love for the youth, the arts, and the community was his love for his family.
Yes.
He wrote often of Miss Patsy and Mr. Clover. He has a poem dedicated to them. And he never failed to recognize anyone's birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions. I mean, any of his siblings, nieces or nephews, even when you don't know them, you will tell us, like, you know, so today is so-and-so birthday. And you're like, you have to get excited too because Nesta is excited about his family. You know, you shared in that joy and excitement. If there was ever a distant relative, Nesta was the one who kept in touch. Nesta was the one that kept in touch. Nesta's health began to fail him after years of living with diabetes. And even though he took his treatment seriously and adopted a more active lifestyle by walking as much as he could and as far as he could, I tell you, I see him walking to New Kingston, Barbican, I see him walking on Mannings Hill Road, always with this heavy laptop bag laden with papers and forms and everything, trying to help somebody, you know, never anything of his own, but always trying to help somebody. And he walked absolutely everywhere. You know, he fought as long and hard as he could, even after losing his leg and his vision, his eyesight, because he never lost his vision. You know, we need to distinguish that. He never lost his vision, he lost his eyesight. And it never made him depressed. You know, at least we never saw that. Nesta was always strong, he was always positive. Even in his challenges, he was still, you know, mentoring and motivating you. And he was always positive that he would get a solution too to his ailment and he would recover. But, you know, when the Lord speaks, the Lord speaks. And on the 13th of August 2024, the Lord said, suffer no more. And called him home as he bid us goodbye, leaving behind his little brother, Sugar, Derek, Maureen, Avanel, lots of nieces and nephews, you know, friends, all relatives. Nesta Maurice Andrews, a brother, a friend, a mentor, community advocate, teacher, father. Nesta Maurice Andrews discovered his purpose, and he lived with a focused determination in fulfilling that purpose. And that is the way we remember him today. He is greatly missed, as evidenced by all of us here. Some travel from all over the world to come here, you know, in sexy clothes and all that, to bid him farewell. We pray that he sleeps in peace and takes his rest in the bosom of the Lord. Before I go though, I would leave with you a reflection that was written by Nesta, which I think is most apt for this afternoon. And it reads, the French would say, joie de vivre, the joy of living, to live to a ripe old age or to live a purposeful life. Can I have both? If not, I choose purpose. I have fallen in love with the simple things we inherit by being human and alive. I find myself unearthing treasures in deep places. My dreams are big. Even when faced with challenges, I find a rhythm or rhyme because the poem must go on. I charge you all to continue to carry out the legacy of Nesta Maurice Andrews.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Wonderful.